fellas, and welcome to the basement. We had a brand new episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow this week with episode 11 of season 2 titled Turncoat. Definitely a perfect title considering that Rip Hunter is now under the control of the Legion of Doom and is now a bad guy. And well, right off the bat, Arthur Darvill definitely killed it with his performance in this episode. You can tell he definitely loves sinking his teeth into being a vile villain. With that said, as you may know, my reviews, particularly on the weekly television shows, tend to be spoiler heavy. Uh, and the first obvious question before I talk about anything else is, was this episode good or not? And I fucking, excuse my language, freaking loved this episode from the moment it started with the opening. You have one of the characters talking about describing themselves, the backstory, all the typical things that's associated with the DC television universe programming. And with it being Mick this time around and being like, I forget the exact phrasing of it. You idiots should know this by now. And, it's like, don't call us heroes, we're more than that. We're legends. Who writes this crap? It's like, well, that certainly set the tone for the episode rather nicely. And of course, this is leading into the spoiler section. So, the spoiler warning: if you did not watch the episode Turncoat, again, episode 11 of season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, I encourage you to pause this video, go watch the episode, and then come back and, of course, tell me what you thought about the episode in the comment section below and give me your opinions on anything that I happen to say here. That's what the comment section is for there, It's not just a guy thing, and yes, this is a Three Stooges t-shirt, so in case you're wondering. That said, let's get into the spoiler stuff here. Now, as great as as Rip is as the villain, the focus of this episode, everything surrounding, from him shooting Sarah in cold blood, disabling the Wave Rider, Rave's suit, mixed weapon, and also Firestorm's Stein and Jax's ability to form Firestorm with an EMP, and then hunting Jax through the ship, to get the piece of the Spear of Destiny that is in the ship. That's all fine, well, and good. That's awesome. That was great. It definitely put a lot of stuff in terms of, yes, this is not going to be a likable Rip Hunter. This is not going to be the captain that we got to know in the first season. This is an all-new Rip Hunter who is remorseless. He is all about, get what you want, do what you want, and, screw everyone that gets in your way. And you got Jax, who's, of course, obviously trying to appeal to Rip's formerly better nature, but it doesn't quite work out that way. Rip does try to get, Jax tries to get, just give Rip what he wants so he can leave Sarah alone, but Rip ends up killing her anyway. Thankfully, Gideon gets turned on back in time, thanks to a miniaturized Ray Palmer. And of course, while not initially knowing that Sarah's going to be okay, Jax goes out to, basically kill Rip in cold blood, and thankfully Sarah, gets there just in time to talk Jax down. So it's like, hey, it's Christmas Day, the day we are supposed to be better than we normally are. And goes to show what type of man Jax is, and that is as a character that he is. He spares Rip because he knows sooner or later they're going to cross paths with him again, and next time he's just going to wail on Rip, and I am so looking forward to that. Matter of fact, I wouldn't mind seeing just Jax literally knock some senses into Rip when they eventually catch up to him again. Maybe beat his memories back into proper order. Of course. So with that said, the stuff with Steel and Vixen, them hooking up during the course of this episode when they were supposed to be going after Mick and General George Washington. Certainly, the context of time and place is not in these two characters' vocabulary. It was pretty obvious that these two were going to hook up at some point, and I have a feeling that both characters are going to end up departing the Wave Rider at season's end, either going back to the 1940s or 2016. I don't think either character is going to be around for season 3. Assuming, of course, there is going to be a season 3. I'm hoping there's a season 3. There better be a season 3. But, put it back on Thursday nights where it belongs and get rid of Riverdale. I actually try to watch it. That show freaking sucks. And I actually like Archie. Uh, but let's get to the real fun stuff in this episode. Mick and George. Oh my goodness gracious me! Whoever came up with the idea of pairing Mick Rory and George Washington, two personalities that are so totally different, not just because of time periods, but in terms of tone and attitudes, was a freaking genius. This was a total odd couple thing, but it was clearly meant as a way to establish, okay, how does really America overcome the advantages that the British Army has? Because if they're fighting by the same traditional war rules, duels or formation battles and things of that nature, the Brits are obviously going to have the advantage over the colonials. So it's Mick who kind of inspires the dirty, do whatever you can, uh, ambush tactics that the Americans ended up using in the Revolutionary War, and inspiring George of what the American spirit is. And it was just great seeing just mixed reaction to George's like, I'm a gentleman. It's like, no, 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 this is war. You're in a fight for your life, and you got to do what you have to. If someone challenges you to a duel, fine, okay, you go raid their camp at the same time. You take advantage of the situation, and it was so cool to see George come around to Mick's way of thinking on a number of obvious things that he has to do, and obviously ended up doing historically. Then you have the absolute ending where they're having a drink together, and George calls Mick the absolute best of what America should be and is. And Mick's response is like, basically, damn right I am. And it's basically, it just works, and it's just a joy there uh, that you wouldn't really expect. Because it easily could have came across a bit flat. And I give credit to the actor who played Washington to deliver a solid enough performance to actually react properly to everything that Mick was saying to them. And the rather awkward bromance hug was really cool as well. Now, there is one little hiccup with this episode, and it relates more to the CW as a network more than anything else. It's quite clear that this episode was meant to air around Christmas time. This is a Christmas themed episode. It takes place December 25th, 1776. It ends with our heroes having a Christmas dinner, holiday dinner, what have you. And sure, they mentioned that with the, time traveling and you're outside of time, there's no real concept of like what day of the week it is and so forth. But, considering all the other shows had their Christmas episodes about the same time, it kind of raises into question as to why does the CW as a network starts its new seasons historically, going back to when the network was UPN, so late. Why they started the seasons in October as opposed to like mid late September. You want to, and I'm someone who's like, if there's a Christmas episode in a season or something around it, I like that episode to be actually in December as opposed to the start of February. That's just me. That said, the Christmas dinner thing was very well established, showing the unity of the team, that these are definitely the mutts, the outcasts, these are the wretched refuse, these are the Americans, to tie into the overall theme of the episode, that they are going to go after Rip, they're going after the Legion of Doom, because you don't mess with family, because no one fights like family, and it's like Mick's the drunk uncle, or rather he's our forefather now. And actually, and that's one thing I almost forgot, that he actually, one of the effects of Mick palling around with Georgie in this episode, there's now a statue that bears a striking resemblance to Mr. Rory in Washington D.C. It's like, Yeah, that definitely works. I kind of wonder what Snart would think about that. So, yeah, it's definitely tell. I definitely like this episode. Now, of course, next week there won't be a new episode of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. The CW is airing something called Tough Mudder, some sort of mud race competition challenge gauntlet type documentary that's going to, so both Legends of Tomorrow and The Flash basically preempted until February the 21st, which will of course mean I will be talking about the next episode of Legends of Tomorrow on February 22nd. But that's how I roll things here in the basement. So of course that, well, at least we got a new episode of Legends of of Agents of Shield next Tuesday. So we got that rolling for us. So like business is not totally interrupted next week. Uh, but coming up between now and then, of course, today being Wednesday, we got a new episode of Arrow tonight that, of course, I'm going to watch and talk about, later this evening. Tomorrow being Thursday, comic book review time again, and of course, we're talking about Justice League and Power Rangers at the same time in the same comic book. That's going to be a lot of fun, particularly if you're a Power Rangers fan, with how the story is presented in the first issue. Uh, and of course, we'll be wrapping up our look at Blue Seed on Friday. We're starting our look at The Chase, the next big Doctor Who story as well on Friday. Uh, Elimination Chamber predictions will be posted as well. I do a recap and review of that on Sunday. So we got all sorts of goodies here. So my friends, and you are my friends, be kind, please subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.